and welcome to another edition of Beer for Breakfast ABV. I am Danielle from The Moog Show here at 91X. As always, I have my beer drinking partner in crime, Paul Segura, with me. Research and Development Master Brewer at Karl Strauss. And today we're featuring not one, but two breweries. It is Pride here in San Diego, so we brought on Hillcrest Brewing Company. We have Shaver, head brewer, as well as Chris, assistant brewer. And this year for Pride, they did a collaboration beer with Ballast Point, and we have Colby, Vice President, Ambassador, Specialty Brewer, Chef. He made us food. How's it going, guys?
Hi.
Hi. Getting better by the minute.
Exciting. Yeah. So you did a collaboration beer for Pride. How did the relationship come about between Hillcrest Brewing Company and Ballast Point?
So we have a wonderful rep named Kelly who was coming in here a lot, and she just floated the idea to us, and I think back in December she said, hey, like, what do you think about doing a collaboration for your Pride beer? And then we both kind of thought about what kind of style we wanted to do, and we both kind of came to the same conclusion that we wanted to do a cucumber lager. I don't know how the hell we both thought about that at the same time.
It was a Jedi mind trick, I think.
Yeah,
Kelly, probably,
yeah. This is the beer you're looking for.
Yes, exactly.
So this is it right here, cucumber lager.
Yes.
It screams summer just by the name of it alone, and looking at it.
Beautiful, nice and clear. Did you guys brew it here or at Ballast?
It was actually the last collaboration at the Scripps Ranch location.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, right before we're selling it. We're selling that location, so this was
so
our
you made
last
a lot of it.
to do. Yeah, we did a bunch.
So people are going to be able to find this all over the place.
All over the place. Yep, all over the place.
Right on.
Here at Hillcrest Brewing, but I mean, it's also pouring at the ported LA Pride Fest, right?
Oh,
and San Fran and San Francisco
up and down the coast.
Up and down the
cheers
coast.
to Pride.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers to Pride.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh, wait, hold on. I
There it is. All right, there it is.
You can smell the cucumber. So how did you prepare the cucumbers to be brewed with?
It is a flavoring, actually. It's an all-natural flavoring in there. I mean, to get the right amount, I first started making kind of a cucumber Helles years ago with Susie's Farm. Okay. Used to go down and pick Armenian cucumbers and add it to our longfin, the longfin Helles. So that's kind of, you know, how this type of an idea started. And having a Helles as the base, I think, is cool because it's kind of like a cracker almost. You know what I mean? That Pilsner malt's very white cracker, saltine-like. So what better to throw a cucumber on top of, you know? And
it's really nice and light and refreshing.
Totally.
This is probably one of my favorite Pride beers.
It's so good, and it tastes like fresh cucumber.
Yeah.
It tastes like cucumber water, and this feels like it would be the perfect beer. It's summertime in San Diego, especially Pride weekend. It's usually really, really hot. This just seems like the perfect quench your thirst kind of beer for that weekend. Was that kind of what you guys were thinking when you were figuring out what kind of beer are we gonna make for this?
Yeah, for sure. Like every Pride beer we've ever done has always been something lower in alcohol.
Under 5%.
Lighter.
Something really marathon worthy, not sprint worthy. For the 3 days of Pride is usually like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we want you to be able to
beer?
Yeah, like we want you to be able to get this and kind of keep going and not I don't know, find yourself ass up in a bush somewhere.
At the DMV. Well, and it comes in at a 4.9% looking up at the board, so you can have quite a few of these.
Oh yeah. No, we had a release party for it on the 1st of June, and I didn't realize that I had like 7 of them.
And I saw you after 7, and you were fine.
I was totally fine.
I see you 7 deep on other beers, and you are not fine.
No, I was totally fine. I was totally good. Like the years past, we did other like different flavorings in lighter beers. I did a lime Kolsch one year and a
blood orange
wit beer one year. So we just kind of try to keep it like just really light, so you can have them all day in the summertime and not die. Pretty much.
So I gotta know, Ballast Point. You guys are coming on 22 years this year, right?
Actually, it would be 96 for us, so 22 years, but 92 for Home Brew Mart.
Okay, so
that was kind of how the whole business started.
Hillcrest Brewing Company, 5 years?
6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is it like? I know that you've been brewing, not nearly as long as Colby. I know you haven't either. What was it like to go to Ballast Point and brew on their system and brew with the Ballast Point crew?
Chris?
I was really taken aback because, you know, we have a 7-barrel system here, so it's a really small system, and we brewed on a 100-barrel system. So it was a little less hands-on for me, but it was also, there were all these things that you got to see and that were already done, and it was like next level stuff, which was really cool. It was really nice to be a part of something like that and see how the big boys do it.
Well, a lot of people forget that we were your size
right.
at one point
yeah.
too, you know what I mean? So to have you guys be excited to come in and see the whole brew day, you know, and that's the whole point of collaborations for me, is to not only take a relationship to the next level, but also to kind of educate both back and forth. You guys educate us, we educate you a little bit, and you know, that's what we're drinking, you know. Like
it was a lot of fun. I had a really great day that day. It was all the guys were like super warm and friendly, and
tacos.
Yeah. So Colby, I gotta know, do you just bring food everywhere you go? Because we've got these delicious bagels in front of us.
Well, you have to eat. And I'm a big fan of elevating any situation you're in, and usually a food pairing will do that for me, you know. You take something that's, you know, two completely different things, and you kind of enhance both of them by combining them together. So I have brought in some just bagels and lox this morning, since we're doing beer for breakfast, and you know.
We often ask people who come on the show, like, what beer or what food would you pair with this beer that you just brought us? And so we're always imagining what it would taste like, but
this might be actually a pretty good one. So I kind of stayed with just a plain bagel, just to kind of back up on that kind of cracker kind of taste a little bit. I love the spicy onion and a little bit of vinegar with the capers in there with any kind of gold beer, whether it's a wit or a Belgian Golden or a triple or a Helles. And you know, that creaminess in there, it should go well. And I think you know, there's contrast, there's complementary, there's cleansing, you know, as far as the 3 pairings that you're looking for. But I always like a condiment pairing too. So I feel like the cucumber is almost a little condiment. You know, we're adding cucumber to this without actually having cucumber on the bagel. So that's kind of why I did it. And since we tasted the beer first, because you always taste the beer first, so that way you can kind of taste the difference when the Helles goes on there. So
I've never had lox before.
I'm glad I didn't drink all my beer.
I know, I almost finished mine.
Carbonation is always a cheater ingredient too. That's what makes beer and food pairings so much better than most other alcohol.
Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that is so good.
The carbonation cuts through the cream cheese almost too, you know?
Wow.
It adds that acidity to it. So
did you just see, like, Sunday morning on the porch, nice cucumber lager in hand with this bagel lox. Oh my gosh, this is so good.
And it's a balance. The beer doesn't overwhelm the bagel doesn't overwhelm the beer, you know, it's kind of nice back and forth.
I like the play between the capers and the cucumber.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Super tasty.
The acidity in there is really nice.
Very nice.
We get to travel a lot as brewers, and I've definitely seen a lot of cucumber water containers in lobbies of hotels.
Yep.
I want this cucumber lager in all hotels. So when I check in, I go over and pull a little tap off and then go to my room. I'd stay at that hotel every single time.
It makes me think of the hotel that most of the brewers stay in at GABF, that super fancy Hyatt. Because I always look at the cucumber water, I'm like, oh, they should give you guys a call for this. September, it's set in Denver.
Put it up, little jockey box in the lobby.
You guys might have to brew this again, like several hundred times.
Yeah.
So with Pride coming up, Chris, can you kind of give a rundown of what Hillcrest Brewing Company is doing the weekend of Pride?
Yeah, so technically the official kickoff of Pride, I believe, is that Wednesday. We're located right next to the big Pride flag here, which is where a lot of things start for the community, including a candlelight vigil. So that's kind of the official kickoff of Pride, and I believe that's Wednesday night. Here, we're going to be doing our Pride release party, again, that Thursday night, so that's going to help us kick off our weekend. Friday night, we have the Pride of Hillcrest block party next to us. We'll be providing a beer garden for that, and we'll have our full bar menu available. Saturday morning is the parade.
Which is so fun.
So much fun, and that starts right here. The center is a block away from us as well, so they kind of set up everything in the DMV parking lot. They come around by the center, and then they come around next to the pride flag before they start their route. So
look for the giant duck in the parade. That's all I'm going to say. The duck.
Or flamingos, it's fine. Oh, yeah. And then Sunday we'll be doing our kegs and eggs with the farmers market on Normal Street. And then Monday we open at noon, and we'll be doing Bloody Marys, Bloody Marias, Bloody Beers, all of your hangover needs for
very nice. Hair of the dog.
For Monday, if you're gonna make it that far.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, since this seems to be the spot for Pride, let's check out a couple of other beers you guys have. What is the next beer that we're looking at here?
So the next one is our banana hammock. It's a Scotch ale. That's part of the reason why I chose this one, was just to get that reaction out of you.
For the giggle.
Yeah.
It makes me giggle every time. Every time. I don't. 12-year-old.
This bar gets in the way of the Speedo I'm wearing.
Yes.
It's pink, by the way.
Well-made beer, very chewy. Like it's got a really nice caramel toffee chewiness to it.
Yeah, thanks, bud.
I like this.
Yeah.
Toasted.
Yeah, I just started using a little
crust,
bit of
melanoidin.
Oh, for sure.
To it for, yeah.
I just started using a little bit of Maris Otter to give
What
it a
is
little bit
Maris
more.
Otter? Because to me, that's an otter that's named Maris.
It's. Go ahead.
That'd be a good label, actually.
Right?
Yes.
Just like a little otter.
A beer named Otter.
Giving ideas out on camera. That's not good.
This is what we do.
Have a cool like Yankee shirt on with the Roger Maris thing on it.
Oh, Roger Maris.
Yeah, right.
Think about that.
Oh, look at that.
It's a varietal grain.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a, I don't know, traditional English, often sometimes floor malted, sometimes not.
I'd say traditionally.
Traditional, yeah.
This is a Scotch ale, right?
Yes.
So, not a very popular style of beer that I see very frequently here in
Bringing
San
it back.
Diego, right?
Not as much unless you come here, because it's one of our best-selling beers.
Okay.
When I first started, I was kind of surprised that it was that popular, partly because it's not the most like summertimey beer, and coming from New England, this is summertime all the time. So I didn't realize that people would enjoy this beer as much when it's over 70 degrees 360 days out of the year. But nah, people drink the hell out of it, and it's like a sweeter, maltier, just stronger beer. It's 9%.
I think they like it.
Oh my gosh, it's 9%?
Yeah.
Doesn't drink like it.
Wow,
You
no.
can't feel the heat at all.
I think
It's not hot or
that
anything.
that's the reason why it is so popular, is because it is like just sweet enough. It doesn't really remind people of a beer. So it's like it's a beer drinkers, non-beer drinkers beer. So they come in here, they have the 9%, so it gets a job done, obviously, but it also has like that really great finish. It's really smooth. It's really
Okay,
malty.
so that kind of brings me into my next question. We are in Hillcrest. This is a very cocktail-oriented part of town. Everybody loves their cocktails here. How has the beer reception been in Hillcrest? I mean, you guys are the only brewery in Hillcrest.
We are, and I think it's taken a lot of education from us and the employees, and also the people that have been coming in, because it's not like there are not gay people that don't drink beer. We have so many regulars that come in and they know so much about beer. They have so many questions they want to know, and it's those conversations around other people that I think start to pique other people's interests. So when they say, "Oh, I love this really sweet, caramely, nice, rich flavor," and then the person goes, "Oh, that sounds really good, and I don't really like beer, but maybe I want to try that." And then they have it, and then they go, "Oh, maybe I like beer more than I think, because beer is not just Bud Light," or...
Well,
I love that.
Paul and Colby, would you like draw a comparison to that? 20 years ago, before the craft beer scene was a huge community, a huge scene in San Diego?
I think the pendulum has swung all the way back to the mid-90s, 20 years ago, where the palate was a little bit more on the non-bitter side of the spectrum, basically. And I think a lot of new drinkers coming up through the ranks right now don't like their dad's bitter beer as much as we want them to, IPAs aren't going to go anywhere, but, seeing I drank a lot of Moosehead and the Bat's Blue and Steinlager, you know, and now
That's what I
it's
started
Pivo
with.
Pills
Yeah.
and Founder's Lager and Longfin Lager from Ballast, and you know, those are all coming in. I drank a lot of Pyramid Apricot, Hefeweizen back in the day, you know. Grapefruit Sculpin now, you know. So I think we're going to see a shift back in kind of to a malty side a little bit too, as new beer drinkers come through and they are trying to decide cocktail, wine, or beer. And I think it's going to be kind of educating, like you said, kind of the newbies coming through. And this is an amazing food beer too, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having this beer and that kind of sweetness, that toffee sweetness, it's almost the same thing as when you caramelize meat on the grill. It's
I was
that
thinking,
same,
I would love a steak.
it's an
A nice
exact
steak with
same
this
flavor
beer.
bridge between the beer and the food that you guys are serving here. So
We have
it's amazing food
Meats
beer.
and marinaris.
Yeah, we have a guy from Moe's that when we had growlers would come in and he would take the banana hammock and he would make his own barbecue sauce with it. And I've always thought that Newcastle used to have on their website, they had a Newcastle barbecue sauce that you could make. And I thought, God, that would be the perfect sweetness. It would be the perfect.
I always like tartare or, you know, carpaccio or something. Something
that'd be
that's
good.
not cooked, because you're adding that kind of grilled flavor with the beer itself. So you're kind of layering on top of it a little bit, you know.
There are some similar flavors of this with like Newcastle, but this has a lot more residual sugar than Newcastle does. It has, there's similar flavors and
bigger,
stuff
it's sweeter,
going on,
yeah.
but this I think is more versatile than Newcastle.
And smoke, is there?
No, there's nothing. I've gotten that from a
almost
lot of
hybrid.
people. Yeah.
Because usually a Scotch ale has peated malt in it,
Yeah.
and a Scottish ale doesn't. But a Scottish ale is lower alcohol; it's 9%.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that hybrid in between. So a lot of people don't drink Scotch ales because they're afraid of the smoke, and this one doesn't have that. It's just luxurious, silky.
Yeah. Luxurious, that's a good word for this beer.
Yeah,
That is,
yeah,
that is
it's
a
very
good
nice,
word for
man.
this
It's
beer.
very
Yeah.
good.
That's just a great descriptor in general.
Yeah.
It's sort of like your hair.
Take it.
It's like his hair. Yeah.
I think I said that this morning. Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't be San Diego if we didn't talk about hops. So what is the last beer we're drinking, Shaver?
So the last one is the Hop Sucker. It's our double IPA.
You guys'
Stop
names.
laughing.
You guys' names are just, I love them. The crotch
I've always
rocket
liked the
red,
names
the pearl
here.
I know.
necklace.
Yeah.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Oh man, we're
We
just.
spilled one for the homies.
Yeah.
Now this is one of my favorite beers at Hillcrest Brewing Company. It's my go-to every time. It's delicious. Can't drink too many of them because then, you know, questionable things happen.
I like this, man. That's also luxurious,
Right?
I think.
Yeah, but in a totally different way. It can be juicy, and I know that you don't like using that word because I may
No,
or may not
I
have
don't
looked
mind
at-
that word.
Well, I may or may not have seen your interview with Mikhail the other day, so
Yeah, well,
you said you didn't like
It's
using juicy.
subjective. It's
Yeah.
a subjective term.
Right.
But no, it totally is. It's definitely, that's the way I describe it, and I'm totally stoked about saying that it is juicy because it is. It's
Oh,
just.
it's just so good.
I almost get like a cotton candy, like
Yes.
good and plenty kind of
See,
thing.
I've
like
seen
there's
that.
almost a little black licorice thing going on.
the
underneath a
maltiness is
little bit,
perfect.
you know?
Yeah.
I think it's not too dry.
Soft.
It's not too.
Very soft.
It's soft. I don't even know how to describe that particular type of maltiness, but it's the same sort of softness that I'm getting in the Scotch ale. I don't know what yeast are you guys? Are you guys at liberty to like?
Yeah. So this is all Chico for
No
at least our two.
kidding.
Yeah.
Like Chico and the Man?
Chico and the Man. Yeah, it's
It's Sierra Nevada's yeast,
Yeah.
basically.
Oh, okay, got it.
yeah. So we actually use a US-05. It's a powder dry yeast as opposed to the liquid for these ones.
I would have never guessed because it's got the nice maltiness, and that particular strain kind of favors the hoppiness.
I know, right?
And lets the hoppiness
Well,
come
so
through.
I like the balance of it, and it gives me almost the balance that I get off of like a New England hazy style IPA, but I don't have a bunch of yeast in it.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. After I changed the recipe a little bit, it really kind of brought out this really juiciness but it still was really clear, even though it's not actually filtered. It still is really clear, and it tastes like if you had it just in a solo cup, you might think it was a hazy looking beer, but it's totally not.
It does have some of the same fruit notes to it. I always say that the hop sucker is the more citrusy of the 2 IPAs that we do.
It's very aromatic.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my
Great
favorite
beer. Yeah.
It's my favorite beer.
Water? Do you mess with the water at all?
Just filter it.
Carbon filter?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, that was going to be my next question
Tastes
too.
a little softer than
Yeah.
carbon
licorice,
filter, like a
and
little
I
salt
totally
in there or something.
get that, like Good and Plenty. I totally get that, and I'm like, wow, maybe I like a anise or something more than I think, because
It's the biscuit Cheetos
I
in you.
never would have thought about that as like a flavor, and then you mentioned it, and I'm
cotton
like,
candy, and then it
oh
was kinda
man,
that
I'm
Good and
totally
Plenty
getting that, and I'm
afterwards.
like, I'm not usually this excited about that, because that's one of my least favorite flavor profiles in my favorite beer. So it's
See, beer for
kinda
breakfast, we're
tripped me out.
teaching people things.
You know, I
Even
like-
on the show.
I like
It's a
this.
collaboration.
I like to
Open my
sit
eyes, yeah.
and have beer with people who know what they're talking about and how to put into words what they're tasting. Because sometimes you don't pick something out on the first sip or whatever, or second, and then somebody throws something out like anise.
Or the past
or Good and
4 or 5
Plenty.
years of me drinking it. Yeah.
Who's
Good and Plenty.
counting?
I didn't get Good and Plenty right off the bat, and then Colby said it, and I tried it again, and I went, yeah,
It's
wow.
totally there, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I never even thought about that until
What hop
No,
variety
But
is
it
that?
has to be like a
is that Idaho 7?
It's got that candy
No,
coated.
it's-
It's got almost a sweetness to it.
That's where that cotton
Yeah.
candy
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
like I got cotton candy right in the beginning, and then that kind of anise, anise, like kind of
Yeah.
gone through.
it's half Citra and half Amarillo.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah.
Well, that's where some of that juiciness comes
Yeah.
from.
Delicious.
Great beer,
delicious
man.
beer.
It's fun beers.
All 3 beers. I think that this is a great representation of what Hillcrest Brewing Company is. You guys have a great variety of beers. Your Pearl Necklace, fantastic pale ale. The Crotch Rocket Red, awesome Irish red. And not even that, but your guest tap list is fantastic also.
Yeah.
The food is great. Everything. If you haven't been to Hillcrest Brewing Company, what are you doing with your life? Is my
Come
question.
to us. Yeah. Come to us.
Thank you so much, Chris and Shaver. If you are in Hillcrest this weekend for Pride, get to Hillcrest Brewing Company. Also, just a little PSA, be kind to your bartenders in Hillcrest. It's a super crazy weekend. Everybody wants to have a good, fun time, so just be patient with everyone, and we should all have fun. Colby.
Well, even if you can't make it to Hillcrest, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, please,
You
please.
can find the Pride beer all over the place because they
Yeah.
made a boatload of it. So
Yeah.
Up and down the coast.
buy it at your own favorite bar.
Ballast
Yeah.
Point locations. where
Yeah,
they're
Ballast
having
Point,
it.
yeah, all of
them, yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
so what? Ballast Point, we've got Lily, got Miramar. Where else is Ballast Point now? You guys are everywhere.
We still got Homebrew Mart.
Got Homebrew
Yes.
Mart, yes.
Still rocking the same location, the OG
yes.
location. Long Beach. We just opened up Chicago about 2 months ago. We just hit our year anniversary with our Virginia location right outside of Roanoke, and Disneyland's coming next.
Yeah.
Downtown Disney. So, yeah.
Ooh, that's really exciting. Well, thank you so much, Colby, for
No,
making
thanks.
time.
No. It's all about collabs.
I'm
What's up,
sorry,
Mr.
I'm going to do
Segura?
it again.
It's
But one
okay.
more thing.
This
We
is why
haven't
we're
had
bad at
Colby
co-hosts.
on the
Oh, I
show
know,
before,
don't.
right? So
This is a big deal. This is a really big deal.
Colby is a big deal. And if you
I'm
know
stoked to be
beer in
here.
San Diego, I got to say, there might not be a San Diego Brewers Guild without this guy. This guy is single-handedly revived it, and all the breweries in San Diego, all the beer drinkers in San Diego, all the beer lovers in San Diego owe this guy a huge debt of gratitude for all that he's done for the beer scene in San Diego.
Yes.
Give it up for Colby, man. This guy is.
I might as well be a mirror because right back at you,
Dude,
dude.
it's a duo.
I mean,
Big
we've
props
both
to
been
you,
in it
man.
for a long time, and
Big
it's been
props.
fun to see the community grow up.
Yeah,
I think for
absolutely.
both of us.
And I think it's huge that, no matter how big, how successful, you still have such a hand in this. And
Yeah.
there's still core people that have been there from the beginning who are making those decisions and making the beer. And that's what, to know the people behind your beer, I think is what is the most important part.
I'm in front of a large village behind me that is super proud to work for Ballast Point and super proud to come from San Diego as well too, and we spread the San Diego brightness with liquid as much as we can all over the country, and these beers are a great example of that San Diego brightness. There are bright beers, they jump out of the glass, and I think a lot of breweries in San Diego do that
And I think
that same type of beer, you know?
I think it also says a lot. I have yet to meet a current or former Ballast Point employee who doesn't have just the most amazing things to say about Ballast Point. And I think that says a lot also, that if you've got employees who've stuck around as long and have nothing but positive things to say, that's huge too. So thank you for everything Ballast Point has done for San Diego beer.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks. Yeah.
And thank
Super
you.
nice.
Thank you for watching Beer for Breakfast ABV. It is Pride Week, so get out there, have some fun, get to Hillcrest, be safe out there. You can hear the on-air version of Beer for Breakfast every Friday. Paul comes into the studio and teaches the Moog Show and you a little thing or two about what you should be drinking this weekend. So thank you, be safe, and cheers!
Happy Pride!
Cheers!
Cheers.